Hello everybody and welcome back to Anxiety Chats. My name is Emily and today am going to be telling a story about one of the worst panic attacks I've ever had. Quick trigger warning, this could be something that you're not quite in the mood for. If you are feeling anxious at the moment or panic attack stories could trigger you, then we have lots and lots of other videos you can go watch and maybe skip over this one for now. But I wanted to tell this story because this story kind of shaped how severe my anxiety got, and it was one of the worst, most difficult moments. And it's also the reason I feel safe with my dad. I don't know if I've spoken that much before in these videos about my relationship with my dad, but he is the only person really that I do proper exposure therapy with, and he is really understanding and just makes things much easier for me and really just gets it, even though he's not really been through it before himself personally. But yeah, I just wanted to tell this story as it's a bit of a tough one, but yeah, I will get into that. I also just wanted to mention that it's hard sometimes talking about anxiety, especially if you've not had a big event or something really, you've not experienced one big traumatic event in your life where people can go, oh, I see why they're anxious. I did experience a lot of trauma growing up in my childhood of different natures, but none of them were really serious or severe or something that you would think of as being serious or severe. But anxiety affects everybody in such different ways. And for example, me and my brother grew up in the same house and environment, and my parents are amazing and very loving and kind, but we've both taken different experiences away from it. And yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention that because sometimes when I talk about anxiety, it feels like when I can't explain enough how horrific it is. And I think people sometimes, this might be my anxiety coming out, who knows, probably. But sometimes I worry that people think why is she so anxious about that? When I know that most of you probably aren't because you've experienced similar things. But yeah, let's get into the story. So basically, I can't remember, I think it was about 5 or 6, maybe even 7 years ago. I believe it's when I still lived at home with my parents. So I was probably maybe around 19, just before moving out-ish time. And me and my dad, I had anxiety, very high anxiety at the time, but me and my dad hadn't really learned about things like exposure therapy. I didn't have emergency medication then. I didn't have anti-nausea tablets, didn't have any of the things that now I would have clung on to for dear life if I had at that time. But I didn't have anything like that. So we just kind of got in the car and decided we were going to go on holiday. My dad had booked a really nice place up north in Scotland. I live in Edinburgh, so it's maybe a couple of hours, maybe 2.5-hour drive. And if you know, my exposure therapy now, I probably wouldn't go more than 20 minutes away from home. And it could have been because of this really traumatic experience that I had. But basically, we're in the car, going up north, and God bless my dad had packed loads of things like meals for us. He'd packed loads of things that we could do. He'd researched the place. He booked this lovely apartment. And Scotland is just beautiful. It's a really beautiful place, and so we just wanted to explore it. So we got in the car, and we'd been in the car for maybe half an hour, and I remember being this is hard. This feels hard. It's almost like there's an invisible line for me. This is my flat. Around here feels okay. Around here feels not great. Around here feels, oh my God, no. And then further than that, I just combust. But we're in the car and I was being really brave. I was really trying so hard to stay calm. I was singing music. I was listening to stuff. I was doing everything I could. I'd packed everything I could need. And the closer and closer we got to this place, the more and more I was I really feel horrific. I guess the best way I can describe somebody that's never been through it is having the flu and having to stand up in front of 100 people and do a talk. That's how it feels, just feeling physically horrific whilst also mentally battling all of these really, really scary thoughts. So we got there and we unpacked, and I just felt so guilty because my dad was unpacking everything and he was excited and he was really looking forward to it. And maybe part of him was thinking this could be the thing that helps Emily and makes her better. But yeah, it wasn't. And we got there, we went inside, and I remember going to the bathroom and then going back into my room and lying down, and then going to the bathroom and feeling like, oh my God, what if I'm sick? I have a phobia of sick. So it was just horrible. And then I was trying so hard. I was like, maybe I can have a nap and I'll feel better. But I was lying in this bed feeling like I was going to die. And I remember leaving the bedroom, going through and saying, Dad, I have to go home right now. I have to go home right this second. And I remember it was freezing. We're in Scotland, remember, freezing, snow covered everywhere. And I went out, sat on the balcony and like lay on the balcony trying to calm down and just thinking, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Because in this moment, I was thinking, either I stay here where I'm extremely, unbelievably anxious, or I get in the car and drive 2.5 hours home, where I'm going to be stuck in a car for 2.5 hours. It felt like the most impossible decision I've ever had to make. It was like being in limbo. Like, both places were unbelievably horrific for me to stay in, but I had to make a choice. Like, I had to. And so I just said to him, we need to go home right now. I can actually feel the anxiety coming up in me now thinking about this. Like, we then got into the car and I went in the front seat, and literally, so there's like, before you get off to the motorway where you can drive fairly straight, there's like 1,000,000,000,000,000 windy roads. And that's just, I think, like countrysides and rural living and stuff like that. And so literally every 5 minutes, we would drive down this really steep, like weird road. I'd stop. I'd have to say to my dad, you have to pull over. I think I'm going to be sick. I think something really awful is going to happen. Bless my dad. Every 5 minutes, he would stop. He would pull over the car. He would let me get out. It was just horrible. And we were driving, and I remember I was starting to feel a little bit calmer, but still freaking out. And my dad let us roll down both the windows with an actual snow blizzard coming into the car both sides. Yes, this was very unsafe, but it was the only way that we'd probably be able to get back to Edinburgh and back home. He was holding my hand with one hand whilst trying to drive and change gears with the other hand, with snow pelting into his face. And he didn't complain. He just, I think at that moment, it made him realise, I'm feeling quite emotional after talking about this, it made him realise anxiety is not a joke. Not that he thought it was before, but it's a serious thing. And it's not just, I just think sometimes portrayed as this kind of trivial thing that a lot of Gen Z and millennials experience, and it's kind of cool, or I don't know, like cute. And he realised, actually, it's grim. It's really grim. From that moment on, I think it changed his perspective of what I go through. And from that moment, he has been so understanding and so kind, and actually done media things with me. Like, we filmed a documentary for Snapchat a couple of years ago, where he actually was interviewed as a father of somebody with mental health problems, and he's an advocate. He's helped other dads, like, with their daughters that go through anxiety. A lot of the times it is daughters as well that are going through anxiety. And it was like a silver lining anyway. Like, it was a really horrible experience, but the silver lining was I now know that there's somebody that gets my specific anxiety and how hard it actually is. And I really just feel for any human being out there that has experienced this level of anxiety and that continues to. I also want to say that I've had many, 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 many good days since then. I have had days where I've not had any panic. I think one of the hardest things when you have a panic attack that severe is like feeling like you're never going to have a day without anxiety ever again in your life, and that you're always just kind of pushing down a panic attack. And for a long time, it did feel like that. I felt like if I sneezed, a panic attack would come on. It was kind of like I was having to really slowly tiptoe through life because I was just terrified of anything setting one off, because it just feels horrific. But since then, I work, I go out with my friends, all of this whilst having no anxiety. I can make videos about it and not really be, obviously it makes me a bit anxious to make videos about these things, but you know, there's so many things that I can do since that day. And yes, I do still have panic attacks. Yes, life is still hard. I still have anxiety, but it's not been like that again. And I don't experience it every day. So if you're in a position where you feel just completely stuck, I would 100% understand. I really, really genuinely do understand. But I promise you, there's a random girl on the internet I know who doesn't know your specific situation. I promise you, it won't always be this way. And I don't have a quick piece of advice I could give you. I have many, many, many tips, but it would take me a very long time to go through them all. But, you know, I'm here with you. I really understand. I know how horrible it is. And yeah, be kind to yourself. Thank you for watching this video. We have loads and loads of other videos and storytime videos on this channel if you'd like to go watch them. And thank you for joining me today. This was a hard one, but yeah, I hope that helped at least one person out there. That would be amazing. And I will see you in a new video very soon. Bye.